4-year deal. I mean, that's sometimes.
Well, how about John Elway can't find a quarterback?
So there's certain people that are wired to run it. Like, let me just tell you, like when I talk to Eric Stahl, I look at him, I'm like, if that guy wants to run a hockey team one day, he's going to be able to run a hockey team one day. You talk to Ryan Carter, and you're like, if that guy wanted to coach, he could coach. I don't know if I get that from Modano, but I don't know him well enough. So hopefully that'll come. I think that if you have him in the organization, they're going to use him as soundboard. And as I wrote in my story today, and it was kind of conjecture, but I cannot imagine that he's willing to move his 4 kids, his wife, and himself to Minnesota for an ambassador job, to go and shake Vicky's hand after a game.
I'd move there. I'd move there to shake Vicky's hand after a game.
I've got to think it's going to be a lot of stuff. And it's going to have to be something to do in hockey ops. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. I mean, sometimes it'd be nice to have somebody in there to say, wait, what? Victor Rask? Just saying.
Well, I think it's time to open it up for live questions. We'll try to get to a few Twitter questions as well. But you know how it works. The mic is right here. Come right up, say hello, introduce yourself, ask a question of Mike, and you will have the floor. While we wait to see who wants to come up first, Vicky sometimes doesn't want to be there. Oh, she does want to be the first. Okay. Well, Vicky's on the way up. Let me thank Fixology Repair, fixologyrepair.com, 3rd floor of the Mall of America by Nordstrom's. Also downtown, not far from here, in the Skyway, just above Crown Bank, across from Dunn Brothers Pizza, Dunn Brothers Coffee, and south of the Wells Fargo Center. Fixology Repair, fixologyrepair.com.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at fixologyrepair.com or at fixologymn on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
All right, Vicky.
Hang on, I got to time out.
Vicky and Mary.
Mary, I'm going to put on the payroll right now. Mary, it's up to you. So the news was that they called up Cal O'Reilly, which was something that they did not plan when they sent down Rao. So pay attention to Granlund's life right now. I'm wondering if something's up there.
In labor?
Yeah, just find that out for me. So, is she? Yeah. I mean, something's happened. She's ready to any second.
Is that the technical term?
Yep. So
how do you spell that?
I don't know. It started with a CL.
Vicky's serious. Look out.
She's in a bad mood. I was mean to her on Twitter yesterday.
Yes, you were.
Yeah.
And I didn't even type that. My friend typed that.
Why is he on your Twitter account?
It wasn't a he, it was a she.
Oh, I thought you said it was Luke.
No, it wasn't Luke. But I'm okay. I'm good with the Modano thing because I don't think he would be like Gretzky, where if things got bad, he'd run away.
Yeah. Well, there was more to that story.
Oh, I'm sure there was.
Yeah.
But
there was definitely more to that story.
Yeah. So anyway, my friend sent me a really good question this time. You ready?
I like that now. Those are text messages, not even DMs, are they? Oh no, they are.
No,
DMs.
they're DMs. Okay. Do you think Fenton should and/or will use his green light to send Cunnin and/or Eck and/or Greenway to Iowa to get them away from the free-falling team right now and protect their development?
Well, the funny thing is, I mean, it's not funny, but if Koivu didn't get hurt, these guys wouldn't even be on the team. I mean, it's just, Eck at least wouldn't have been back, which was, to me, part of the problem. But I think that there has been an edict from Fenton to Boudreau that if these guys are going to be here, they've got to play significant roles. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that first of all, remember at the trade deadline, you have to put a reserve list together for Iowa, and I'd be shocked if Cunnin, Eriksson Ek, and these guys are on it, unless sometimes you would make that paper move just because you think Iowa's going to make the playoffs on the Wild if Minnesota isn't. So actually, I'm just changing my mind. Actually, it would be smart to put them. So you get a certain amount of call-ups after the trade deadline. A lot of teams, what they'll do is they'll actually kind of on paper send Cunnin and Eriksson Ek down and then recall them. That actually might be a smart thing for the Wild to do with those two, so they get a playoff run with Iowa if it looks like Minnesota is not going to make it. So I would say that there's a chance they do play in Iowa again this season, but I don't think the reality is that they would send them down for the purpose of that's such a toxic environment that you're going to get rid of them because you're going to destroy them.
Don't you think that Cunnin is doing better than Eriksson Ek?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm really impressed with him.
Yeah, but I mean, X playing well as well. I'd like to see Eriksson Ek getting more chance. I'd rather him playing center than Granlund up on a top 6 role. I think that this is the time. He should have been in overtime the other night. I don't know. I like the way that both of them are playing right now, but they've got to continue because Greenway's been absolutely terrible here the last 3 weeks. He's been one of many. I would like to see Boudreau get back to that Stahl, Coyle, Greenway line that we saw before the All-Star break where Stahl was unbelievable. Stahl needs to get away from Zucker right now. Zucker's becoming a major issue, his lack of quality play right now.
Yeah. Just one more thing. I'm kind of jumping all around. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Modano could be one that could get into the locker room and do
I don't
something
know. I mean,
about that?
The one thing I will say about Modano that he's going to have to remember is that he's not a player. I think sometimes with Modano is that he probably still thinks he is. So he's got to. If he gets this type of role, there needs to be boundaries. So I don't know. I mean, this team, they've got so many. There's a lot of stuff looming over this team today, which Foligno almost kind of let the cat out of the bag yesterday. But there's just so many issues inside this team right now that's just created this mess, and I think that that it'd be nice to have somebody like Modano's influence in there. But look, I mean, if Stahl can't take it by the reins, and if Hendricks, remember he was brought in to fix the locker room, if all there's bigger issues on this team, and we're seeing it now kind of manifest itself.
Well, I'd love to see someone come in that's sort of detached from all that, the Leopold, Suter, blah, blah, blah thing. But, Modano's kids are little. Now's the time for him to move if he's going to move.
Well, he'll fit right in. Actually, one of the Wild players asked me today, he goes, how many kids does he have? And I said 4. He goes, oh, he'll fit right in. It's like,
exactly.
This is the only team. It's like yesterday they had their whiskey event at Herbie's, and they actually created a daycare center for all the players to put their kids in while they went and did this. Like a lot of teams,
That's awesome.
that doesn't happen, but there's like 40 kids on this team. So, which is part of the issue. I mean, I don't want to,
Michael Russo is anti-child.
No, I mean, it's like these. You have so many other wives that are pregnant or newborns around that it's just. I mean, it was actually my concern coming into this season is that look at this next 3 weeks. You have. In a row, you have Granlund, Patterson, Spurgeon, Zucker in a row during this time of year. So these players have a lot of distractions right now, understandably so. Or the 6 or 7 players that have already had babies this year, and so we all this is real life, and it's an interesting thing that this organization is suddenly in. I mean, no player or scout or anybody I've talked to this season has ever heard of something like this where 12, 13 wives were all in the middle of a hockey season going to give birth, and I do think that it's created a lot of the issues here. I mean, these players have a lot of distractions off the ice, and then they got to come to the rink and suddenly perform if they're having to deal with real life stuff.
Next in The Athletic, Michael Russo rips motherhood.
It's not what I meant.
Well, it's going to be an interesting week coming up. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Vicki. Appreciate it. While Mary steps up, I want to remind you, Delano's is at 118 North 4th Street, Minneapolis, 612-767-9494. You can find their, you can order online also at delanospizza.com. They're open from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m., lunch specials, obviously full cocktail bar, craft beers. Oh, where did Mary go? I thought Mary was going to. Oh, Mary got her food. There we go. Fire away.
Yeah, we pulled the old switcheroo for a second. Sorry. So.
It's all right.
So I just got a comment and question. So with coaching situation that's going on this year, this is one of the situations where I personally am a big Boudreau fan. I think obviously he's a great coach who's going to win a cup, whether it's here or somewhere in the league. And I really think he does. I think he's got as much out of this roster as he can. And I don't put a blame on what's going on him. And so I guess any chance. So my question there would be. Any chance, he obviously kind of survives whatever goes on.
Well, he's going to survive for the rest of the season. Going into next year, it's going to be up to Leopold because, there's no doubt that Fenton's going to want to make a change, and probably with Dean Evison. bet my life. And it's going to be up to whether Craig's willing to eat Bruce's contract. And then if that happens, is Craig willing to let Paul have Dean as the head coach, or do you actually go out and do a proper search? So I do think that's, look, we've all seen this for the history of sports. When a GM comes in and inherits the coach, it usually is going to eventually end, and usually into that season or after one season. So, I mean, I think Bruce knows it. And it's created, that's another dynamic that's going on right now, is that you have the assistant coach next to Bruce. It's essentially the heir apparent, and everybody knows it. And I think that there's the belief that Fenton's getting a lot of info from Dean, and that that they're also making moves. I mean, just look at the moves that have been made. They've been all guys, or most of the moves have been made recently are guys that have performed well for Dean in Milwaukee. Well, the AHL is a very different league than the NHL. JT Brown's going down to Iowa right now and playing very good hockey. Maybe that's his level. Doesn't mean that Bruce wasn't a good coach for him in the NHL. Maybe that's his level. So a lot of times, if Boteto is great for you, and maybe that's his level, Kevin Fiala is somebody that I think the Wild are going heavily after right now. And, again, that's somebody else that's performed for them in Nashville and Milwaukee, but what's he done this season? So
For sure. And then one other comment would be, and I promised I was going to think of something positive. Let's go with the assumption that he who shall not be named from Russia is here in 2 years. Mm-hmm. If I'm Fenton, I'm building for that year, and if you look at the wings that we have on this team that are obviously are underperforming. Let's say they bounce back. Granlund, Parisi are still around, whatever the case may be. There's still enough I think on this team that would really be good again in a few years. And I'll say I'm not naive. I don't know what they're going to do with the center positions, but if he can figure that out, I think this roster could be built back up pretty quickly. But
yeah, I don't know. I think that he's going to move some guys. There's some guys on this team that either they're underperforming. Parisi's going to be 2 years older in 2 years, so I would not stick my belief in that he's going to still be the same player. And so, I don't know. I'm not as enamored with the roster anymore as some were. I just think it's a tired. I've said this a couple times the last couple of years. My biggest concern with this roster is that they get tired of each other. And I think that's what's going on. I don't think that they have the energy to put in the work that needs to get done to make the playoffs when they all know how it's going to end. They know they're not good enough. And they've been doing the same thing, spinning their wheels for a long, long time. And I think that I think that's part of what's going on here. Yesterday looked to me like a team that gave up. I think that those Philadelphia and New Jersey losses sucked the life out of them. And that's why I do think that this next month it could be very miserable here. I really do. And not to mention, we don't know what's going to happen in the next week with who Fenton potentially moves. I will say that I don't think this is going to be easy to even move guys if he wants to. Like right now, do you want Jason Zucker? Do you want? Maybe Charlie Coyle, but do you want? Right now, Eric Stahl looks like he can't play. And the other thing is, Eric Stahl ain't happy the way that he's been treated this last year. So he's got this no-trade list that is built upon playoff teams. So if all of a sudden one of those playoff teams actually want him at the deadline, to me it would be a lease on life, and I'd be like, yes, send me. But, he might not play ball with Fenton. He might not. If Winnipeg or somebody wants him, or Vegas, is he going to be like, yeah, I'll go there for a month and a half? And then the other thing is, if he's not, do those teams even – the other thing that I wonder too, and this is just me as another GM, if I know that he built his no-trade list around mostly potential playoff teams, do I really want to go trade for him anyway? Because that shows to me somebody that's he doesn't even want to play for the playoffs. He just wants to be with his family, and it's going to be miserable, and it's not going to work anyway. So, I don't think it's going to be easy actually to move him now. Because the teams that aren't on his list that weren't no playoff teams, they're not going to want him. Those teams have no need for him. The playoff teams do, but again, he strategically built his no-trade list around the teams that he thought would need a second-line center and a playoff team.
I wouldn't be surprised if we don't do much.
Yeah, I know. It really wouldn't be shocking. So Fenton's in a tough spot.
Good questions, people. We appreciate it. Quickly, we do have some hats and one T-shirt up here. Feel free to come up and grab one if you like. Just wear them around. We appreciate it. I'm going to follow up with you after